Hello, Aquarius, Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus signs. Welcome to your tarot reading here at the Intuitive Teacup. Ooh, that was a terrible shuffle. We're going to do a love tarot reading for you, a little love spread, romance, dating, sex, things of that nature. Please come into this reading with an open heart and an open mind, a desire to learn something or better yourself. If the messages that come through don't resonate for you, feel free to push them aside. They may resonate for you at a later date, so feel free to check back. You are accountable and responsible for all your own actions and decisions. This is, of course, optional advice, guidance, and energy check-in. That being said, let's try and have some fun, get you some helpful, insightful messages. And please do trust your own intuition above all else. All right, 3 more cards and we'll hop in. So right in the middle of your spread, you have Judgment, which frequently has to do with kind of cleaning out the closet, getting rid of excess baggage, things, people, situations that no longer serve you. It can also be a very strong card of revival from the past. There could be something very significant about a parent-child dynamic in your present or upcoming energy. For those who have anyone on the other side who has passed, and I don't predict things like this, just so you know, I don't predict scary things like death or illness. I'm not asked to relay those messages. So anyway, for those who lost a member of their family, child, parent, however it resonates for you, I don't know, in the coming month or so, you may just feel like a very strong connection, almost as if they are guiding you. And because this is a dating and romance spread, right, you may feel like, I'm almost getting a sign, or a message that you feel like you got a sign from your person on the other side that they approve of the new person in your life who you're looking at building a future with or wanting to have some sort of romantic relationship with. You get some sort of sign or signal from, again, a deceased member or an angel guide or something spiritual. I'll say it that way. It feels like a very strong maternal energy for a lot of you. And for some of you, it's like a feather. A feather just like floats down from the sky and it lands on your shoulder or I don't know, something like that. Or on your shoe. I don't know. Something about that. It's like you've been contemplating something with a person and it just feels like a sign. Anyway, that's that message. It feels really beautiful though. It's nothing, spooky or ominous. It feels like a confirmation that you needed. So I like that very much. Yes, some of you are about to embark on a new relationship or a new chapter with your person. And it just feels very cosmic, like the universe brought you guys together. And it sort of has opened up your world to see things in a new perspective. And for a lot of you, it's almost like this, it like blows your mind to feel like you've met someone who's so compatible and vibes with you so strongly, and that actually treats you in a way that you deserve to be treated. So I can only presume that means in the past you maybe had a rough time in a relationship, or maybe your boundaries were crossed, or you didn't have firm enough boundaries, or you've done a tremendous amount of learning and growing in relationships. So even the painful ones, not that I am trying to justify them by any means, but even like the painful experiences you've had in your life, they've gotten you to this point today, and it's really proven to you your own strength, your own courage, your own tenacity, your ability to get out of situations that aren't good for you. And so some of you, it feels like it feels like the start of this really cool chapter where there's like this lovely embrace of being in a strong connection that it's just, I'm just hearing like, I didn't know it could be this good. Like I didn't know life would ever get better for me. It's actually very emotional, to be honest. I think there's like happy tears of relief. A lot of you have just been through the ringer with something. It could have been a health struggle, your personal life. It could have been something with a family member. Whatever it is, you seem to be finding yourself in a partnership now or in the future where you just feel totally and completely supported. And you may have gone through for those who are already in a relationship, you may have gone through a lot of difficult situations, particularly with a child or trying to get pregnant or something like that. But there is sort of this understanding that maybe I'm taking this alternate path. Maybe I'm headed down the road less traveled, or I'm going in a different direction than I ever imagined myself going in. But with that, it's all the more sweeter. There's like reason to celebrate. It does feel like there were a lot of obstacles and what felt like closed doors in terms of, something you were trying to break into, or a relationship that you were trying to be seen in or heard in. That's particularly important, not feeling heard in a relationship, not feeling valued or seen. And it sort of felt like you were screaming at a brick wall, like nothing was shifting or moving until you sort of got the idea that that wasn't the right one for you. And yeah, it's like upon just realizing that you deserve better, and honoring, yourself, acts of self-love, essentially, putting yourself before others, very justifiably too, absolutely. Things get easier. It's like doors start to open without you even having to struggle. Yeah, there's like a lot of pride and a lot of, I think, just even like recognition from your spirit guides. I like this very much. There could potentially be something with a water sign in your near future, Scorpio, Cancer, Pisces. You do have a lot of water energy here. A lot of water energy. Yeah, I keep getting this thing of like looking for a sign and asking, whatever you believe in as a higher power. That's, none of my business, but, whatever you say, God, source, spirit, universe, angel guides. I see you sort of, I don't know if it's desperation, but just feeling lost at some point, and asking for a sign, and you receive it. So be ready to receive that message if you're asking for it. You know what I mean? You have to be open to those little signs and symbols, and read into it and not just write it off as superstition or coincidence, because there are guides around you. There's very strong forces around you, and the path is going to become clearer, but there is sort of a leap of faith of, again, feeling like it seems like the universe is calling me down this path versus that one, and so I'm going to trust my gut that this is right for me. A lot of you may have met someone while you were going through some sort of medical battle or illness, and it doesn't, I'm not necessarily saying long term. You could have broken a bone, and you met someone, who does the x-ray on you, and there was like a weird spark or connection. Like, it could be something as simple as that. It could be someone who gives you your flu shot, but someone who's a healer of some kind, or works in the medical industry, or again, something to do within the, I'm hearing words like radius or territory of some sort of illness or healing process that you were going through. You may have connected with someone. Maybe it was a care assistant, maybe it was a counselor, whatever it was. Someone who could potentially be a romantic, I'm hearing romantic lead. That sounds like a movie reference, but like a romantic lead in your life. Someone who saw you through the illness or helped to give you support and care when you needed it most. I'm getting like very specific messages. I'm trying to get more general, but I don't know, something about like an eating disorder or a skin condition. That's not for most of you. That's for like one or two of you. It's just, again, little confirmations. It could even be someone who works in like a dietary field, or that could be something they do for a living. I don't know. Again, that's ultra specific, so I know it's not for all of you, but for the one or two of you that needed to hear that. Yeah, it feels like you're with a person who is able to go to those deep, dark places with you, when life gets really crazy and, dare I say, shitty, rather than this person not wanting to be vulnerable or running in the opposite direction, or, trying to lighten the mood with, jokes and humor. Sometimes it's like that just isn't helpful, and it feels like you have this person who can keep it light and airy with you, but there's also this ability, this like profound ability to go deep and talk about those things and address them, and not be intimidated or run off scared by them. That may also have to do with sharing traumas from your own past, in terms of your own family, your upbringing, also your history in dating. Not that I'm saying that needs to be a topic of conversation, but I feel like there's a need for some of you to have a conversation about that, because it helps to justify or explain why you've lived the way you live. And again, it's not that anyone's demanding that story from you, but there's this understanding that, like, I'm comfortable sharing that side of myself, or that part of myself that I had to keep hidden away for all these years, or almost like this feeling of like suffocating it, like not letting that show, or not letting that part of me shine because there's shame or guilt or embarrassment or fear attached to it. We're letting things go. These two cards specifically say to me, like, we're seeing things from a different perspective, and it's not to take away credit from you, because you've done the work and you've been building towards this, but there's also something just really like astounding about your person and their capacity for like empathy and understanding and non-judgment. You can say anything and they don't act with shock, or they don't ask you a million questions out of, confusion, or almost, putting you on trial. It doesn't feel like that. You don't have to explain everything, but I think you naturally want to share more and more with them. All right, anyway, I feel like I've gotten that message for you a lot recently, Aquarius. So for some of you, you may be with a partner and you're currently questioning, is this the right person that I should be building with? and again, for a very, very select few of you, if there is issues of abuse of any kind, psychological, emotional, physical, you already know the answer. So I support you in choosing a healthier path, and with that, probably a person who isn't toxic and who doesn't make you feel bad about yourself. Even just the idea of bullying. Some of you are in a relationship where it feels like you're dating someone who's just overly critical of you and putting you down, or again, like it lacks emotional maturity or emotional intelligence, and sort of can act like a spoiled brat sometimes. I'm not attributing that to any specific sign, because it could be literally anyone. But for some of you, again, you've already asked your guides, like, is it okay for me to leave this relationship? For some of you, you may come from a very like religious or traditional background where, because maybe you're married to this person, or you promised commitment to them, you feel bad going back on your word. And again, the universe is trying to open up your world to be like, no, 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 like it can be so much better. Like you have tunnel vision because you've been in this relationship. I'm just getting this idea of, you might not see the light at the end of the road, but there is. But you have to take that first confident, brave step of wanting to pursue other things, and stand strong. Ask for help where you need it. Right, there's a heavy message to that one. So I send you much support and encouragement to step out of what you've been doing and try something new, even though it's scary. I think the universe will help guide you and show you the way. Face your fears for sure. All right, for others of you, it seems like there's possibly an earth sign or maybe another air sign. I don't know. Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn, Scorpio, maybe Libra, Aquarius. I don't know. Someone's reaching out to you, but you want nothing to do with them. And so there might be multiple people involved here, right? I'm not saying every offer you get, you're going to want to, go running for the hills. But yeah, for some of you, it's like someone is persistent. It's not like, I guess maybe they're coming on strong because they really like you. They're asking you out on a date. They're, wanting to propose more intimate things or asking you to move in with them. And you're just kind of like, oh shit, like I don't want this. You seem to be running from that. So I'm just trying to get the storyline here. This could also be someone from your past too, particularly an earth sign from your past. There might be someone who comes back around that you just want nothing to do with. That also might be the relationship that you're trying to get out of. So again, trust your impulses. Try not to make decisions based on fear alone, but out of, again, more sort of this higher vibration of there's better things out there for me. And when the time is right, when the person is right, when the situation is right, I'll feel it. Like I'll know. There'll be peace and calm in my decision versus this like chaotic, anarchy of just like, nervous kinetic energy. It shouldn't feel like that when you're making decisions of the heart. And so don't be pressured into a corner too. I think that's really important. Something about moon manifestations, making wishes on new moons or full moons or whatever you're doing. I think the universe is saying like, we're listening. So keep at it. Some of you may be doing like spell work or crystal grids or something to bring in not only love, but something new in your life. It could even be something to do again with health or career, or just a change up, looking to feel like you're aligned to the right path again. And you're exactly where you're supposed to be. But with this judgment in the middle, get prepared for big changes. For some of you, there could be a new house or a new household. Some of you may be moving into your first apartment on your own. You may be at a distance from your family if that hasn't been a thing in the past, or vice versa. You may be moving specifically to be closer to family. I do see that for some of you. For those who are on dating apps, there seems to be a lot of connections. But so this isn't a negative message. Just hear me out before you cut me off too soon. It seems like you go on a lot of first dates or second dates where the person is pleasant, but there's just no chemistry. Some of you are starting to feel like it's a waste of time, or you're getting very jaded. Like, I keep going on these first dates again and again, and like nothing ever comes of it. For some of you, again, it's like this idea of like, I just don't feel seen and heard as a person. That is going to change. There is going to be someone who opens your world up, who lets you in, and vice versa. But I think the universe is also asking, are you more guarded than you think? Are you actually opening yourself up to let people in? Or are you keeping people at an arm's length or an arm's distance, whatever that expression is? Because for a lot of you, that's a big key. That's like an important thing that I don't even think you guys realize. That sometimes you do appear very closed off, and it's not that you're trying to be. I don't even think it's intentional, but because you're an air sign, all air signs, right, can have a tendency to be up in their head a little bit, so they're not always fully present, or the narratives, the conversations, the feedback loop going on in the head isn't necessarily an indication of what's happening in their surroundings. So again, try and be present. And challenge yourself to open up a little bit more than you're used to, get out of like that comfort zone, because that's sort of where the secret sauce lies. That's where the success is in a relationship, is putting yourself out there and, warts and all, being vulnerable, which I know that's hard. And especially for my Scorpio moon, I feel that, right? But there's something lovely and, inviting to other people when you're open. And I don't question that you have difficulty setting boundaries here, because that seems to be a lesson that you've learned the hard way. If anything, I'm hoping that the past issues or challenges or drama, whatever happened in your romantic life, I hope it hasn't made you jaded and you've thrown up all the walls and now it's like you're challenging people to try and break them down. I do see that, again, maybe even subconsciously for some of you, that the right person will they'll know how to get at me and whatever. But that's kind of pardon me, but like a messed up way of looking at it. There should be this acceptance of your past and sort of this empowerment of, these challenges and bad relationships. They've ultimately made me who I am, but they're not going to ruin me, essentially. I'm not going to go out on dates with this mentality of, this potential person is guilty until proven innocent. It should be the opposite. And I think that's really important. That's like a very strong storyline coming through. Some of you, there's something maybe with a Pisces or a Scorpio where it's something from the past where either you're waiting for them to come back around or they're reaching out to you. But I'm sort of getting the idea of like, it's picked at the bone. It's almost like vultures trying to I'm sorry for the gross metaphor, but it does make sense to me. It's like vultures picking at the bone. Well, there's no meat there. There's nothing left of this relationship, even though someone is trying to will it back into existence. I don't know. I see an ending that happened with possibly a Scorpio or a Pisces, and one person in the relationship is trying to revive it or reaches out to make an offer of hey, are you still single or do you want to try going out again? But it's almost like too much time has passed and one or both people have gone through too much. And I don't know. I don't sense a strong sense of revival for that one connection. I do see a potential reunion with a fellow Aquarius or a Cancerian that actually holds a lot of potential joy and happiness. I see enjoyment there, but there's definitely some contemplation. And so I don't know if that has to do with considering a friend who wants to be a romantic prospect or vice versa. You may have been in an established friendship and you start to realize that you have romantic feelings for them. I'm getting very strong Cancer and Aquarian vibes there. And so, and part of that contemplation, again, it has to do with excavating things from the past and letting go of things, people, relationships that no longer serve you, even the memory and the trauma of it, doing the healing work so that you are ready for something new, to open yourself up to new connections. Others of you, again, it does have to do with this idea of maybe holding on to an ex and then kind of at that time realizing that something new is already here and trying to come in. And again, psychically, you're very in tune. It's you feel like this could be a good shift, a good change. But with that, there's this realization that once and for all, I really do have to let go of this hope of the past coming back. Because for some of you, it really is with Fool energy, starting fresh and starting anew. I definitely see a lot of water sign energy here and past stuff coming back to the surface. And so again, some of them you're running from. You're just absolutely not. There's certainty. I don't want anything to do with this. And for some of you, you may even end up blocking someone who keeps messaging you and hitting you up. I don't see anything unsafe, but for you, it's too oppressive. It feels too obsessive or too much, too strong, too soon, whatever it is. You're just no, I don't want that. So you can be open and honest, but to be honest, I don't see a lot of sword energy here, meaning communication. So a lot of the communication, quote unquote, you're doing with people in the coming, few weeks or months, it's very psychic. It's very emotionally in tune. It's feeling things without necessarily having to say it. And for others of you, there's no communication involved. It's cutting people off, stone cold, moving on, blocking them, and not giving them any sort of explanation. And I mean, if that's what's in the cards, then to be honest, for some of you, that might be what is advised if that feels right. Some of you, if you're already building with a water sign, like you're in a relationship and it's kind of hit like a bumpy path, or you're out of the honeymoon phase and you're having some tiffs or arguments or fights, again, it has to do with the idea of not listening, not being heard, being very fixed in your viewpoint and not necessarily opening yourself up to their ideas, their wants, their needs, whatever it is. And I don't just mean like romantically or sexually. And this may have to do with you too. It might be a mutual sense of I'm yelling and screaming out loud, but my person isn't hearing me. So with that, the hangman says both of you, or one of you anyway, needs to be more open-minded and flexible. And, the hangman is inverted to see things from another perspective. That's the point. It's to take time out and kind of immerse yourself in this new energy and get comfortable with it. It doesn't mean you have to be on board with everything or do everything you're told, because, you're not going to, right? But there is this moment of, maybe I do need to take into consideration where they're coming from. That's going to help fix any relationship, whether it's with a water sign or not, in the coming month. Is being more open-minded to their viewpoint and being at least empathetic to what they're feeling. You don't necessarily have to agree with it, but I do think it helps to sort of immerse yourself in that idea of, okay, well, if I was in their shoes, how would I handle this? Or how would I be feeling? And, and accountability, right? No one is perfect. So being able to say, I was wrong, I'm sorry, it could be as simple as that. And I know that's hard, for the fixed signs especially, right? Especially a fixed air sign, right? You are very attached to your point of view. It doesn't mean you're open-minded. Aquarians are very open-minded. But something with a partner, I don't know why I'm getting this. I just, to be honest, something with your partner, it's like there is this inability to see things from their perspective. And so, advice or guidance, you're just being asked to work on that, to try seeing it from their perspective and just see what happens anyway. All right, Aquarius, that's what I got for you. Please remember to like, share, subscribe, and I will see you very soon for more tarot. Bye, guys.